Hello guys, welcome back to the course. I'm here with Diana and now we are going to tackle trends and inspiration when it comes to resume. So I'm going to talk about general trends and Diana, you are going to talk about
design trends
Design
and
trends.
inspiration.
and inspiration. So let's jump right into it, Diana. Let's go. So the first trend for me, which is a general trend, and I already mentioned that in our first lecture, chronological resumes, and to be very precise, reverse chronological resumes. That means when you talk about your job experience, like your different positions in other companies or as an entrepreneur, always start with the most recent experiences first. Why is that? Well, simply because they are probably the most relevant. Somebody evolves along his career or her career, and so it is normal that the last job that you've had is probably the most relevant to the human being you are today. So start with these most recent job experiences. So we can see here a couple of...
Like this one, for example, it starts with the most recent, which is the present job.
Yep. Some of them, like the middle one here, is actually using a timeline, which could be an option for design. But I'm not talking about design inspiration. That is Diana's job at the end of the course, at the end of this lecture. So let's move on to the next trend. Yes, to write a professional summary. So what is this? A professional summary is basically a little introduction to your resume, just kind of like what you have on LinkedIn. You know, you have these 2 or 3 lines attached to your profile, and these lines are going to be displayed everywhere. It's kind of like your bio on your Instagram or on your Facebook page. So your professional summary should be super attractive and also give 1 or 2 of your most important accomplishments. It should also be filled with your main keyword or keyword related to the job offer. And so why do you need to create a professional summary, and why is it trendy to create one in your resume? Well, simply because the average person that will review your resume in a company will spend about 6 seconds on your resume. So that means if you don't catch that person's attention very quickly, there's a good chance that your resume is going to stay at the bottom of the pile or forgotten forever. So Diana is going to talk about different visual techniques to get people attention, but after catching the eye with a nice visual, it is super important that the first thing people will read actually gives them a good reason to keep reading. So your professional summary has to accomplish exactly that mission. It has to give the viewer, the reader, a good reason to keep reading. So here we can see a couple of examples once again. So you can talk about your highest qualities, your most accomplished in terms of professional career, like 10 years of experience in this, or here we can see extremely motivated in to constantly grow professionally. So these kind of strong professional skill or attitudes, or even accomplishment, if you have accomplished a lot of things in your career, have to be in your professional summary. All right, so that's kind of like your hook for getting people's attention. And then the next trend is to spotlight the right skills or the right keyword in your resume. So how do you spotlight, how do you highlight these keywords, and why should you do so? I think I already mentioned it before, but there is a such thing in bigger companies, in corporate companies, called ATS, Applicant Tracking Software. And what does an ATS software do? Well, it will scan your resume very quickly. It's like a kind of like a Google spider that scrolls the content on the internet. This software will just look for specific keywords that are probably closely related to the job description in the applicant's resumes that have been submitted. So it is important that you make it easy for this software to find your specific keywords, your specific skills. Okay, so you can highlight these keywords in different ways, but the most important is that when you read that job description, you understand what the most relevant keywords are. I would take a marker and just highlight all the keywords in the job description, and these keywords absolutely need to show in your resume. So here we have two examples. So the keywords that have been used, for example, for the first person is complaints and customer flow. So that's probably a position, someone working with customer service. And in the second resume here, we can see senior and workshop. So probably we are looking for someone who is an executive at senior level who will be able to conduct workshops. So very important. And you can also add a touch of color or play with the design on your resume to kind of highlight these keywords. So
and I guess that you also can include these keywords in the previous section that you were showing us.
The professional resume?
Here,
yes.
Right?
I would say select
anywhere in the...
Yes. I would probably use the most important keyword in your professional summary related to the job offer. And that's also why, guys, you should always customize your resume every time you apply to a different job offer. Because of that reason, because of the ATS software that are going to track your resume for specific keywords. So you might have a very good looking resume and very appropriate for a specific role or company, but it might be very different for another company. So if you're applying to different jobs, make sure go the extra mile, and you don't have to redo your entire resume, but you have to use different keywords. That's it for me, Diana. Maybe you can take over?
Yeah. Okay, so we arrived to the part of this lesson in which I'm going to share some design trends and inspiration that I found.
Woo-hoo. Let's go.
Okay, so the first thing that I found, after checking maybe hundreds of CVs, is that I found this trend where we can see a really big name, huge name actually, in these two cases. And I think this is also a strategy for people to remember your name.
Yes.
So I remember when we were recruiting some trainees for our agency, and we were receiving so many CVs, and this helps the person who is hiring remember names faster.
Yeah.
So I think this is very important.
I think this is good. For example, my name Ronnie. People tend to write Ronnie with IE when it is with a Y.
Or Ronald.
Having a big name can help people remember your name.
Yeah, so I think this it's something really interesting that I found out.
Yep.
Then I also saw something that is trending, and it's having round portraits. So I saw so many different designs, and this round portrait, I saw it coming a lot, and I think it helps having the design of your CV more stylish in a way. So yeah, this is one of the trends that I found.
I have a question here.
Yeah.
Do you recommend people to add their photo on their resume?
I guess it depends. In my case, when I was recruiting some people, it was nice to see the photo because you kind of have a human connection with the person. You kind of see who the person is, and it's not just a paper.
Yes.
But I understand that in some countries, they don't use photos. So when I was living in the UK, I remember all the CVs were without photos.
Really?
So I guess that depends also on the country and maybe also on the job.
All right.
So yeah, it depends.
What else do you have for us?
Okay, so next, loading bars. I found that loading bars are a thing. I saw these bars you see here, for example, we see on the skills bar mostly. We see these bars on the skills bar. So here we have SEO and Google Analytics is not completely full. Social media, they have more strength in that area. He's more weak, or Amelia is more weak on the web development. So that, maybe the person who is recruiting can know or understand where are this person's weaknesses and strengths. So I think this can be interesting. and yeah, I saw them a lot in different CVs and resumes.
Interesting.
So yeah, maybe this is an idea for you to create your CV or resume. And then I also found out these infographic resumes, and you can see here, like we have the big name, as I already mentioned, the round photo in this case, and then we have a bunch of different graphics, maybe explaining the story, what's my story, like all the different
job experiences
in a timeline, which is interesting, and then competences and international experience, so it's more graphic, and the person who is hiring maybe will remember this person easier than the other CVs that don't have this infographic. But I guess Ronnie wants to say something
I think
related to this.
I think it really depends on what kind of position you're applying for and job you're applying for, but also company. Because of different things. First, remember the ATS, the mighty applicant tracking software. They will probably not recognize the images in your resume. So you still need the strong keywords if you want to pass that first filter. And second, if you're applying for a creative job, then this is perfect. Like this shows your creativity. This shows that you are good with graphic design, with infographics, maybe Canva or Photoshop. It shows that you have talent and that you have spent some time creating this. But it could be a double-edged sword. Like if you're applying for a regular job at a regular company, then it might be seen as, oh, who's this guy? We don't need this guy. Like this is too much.
Yeah, maybe for roles that are more into design or marketing or creatives. Yeah. So yeah, and also like as Ronnie was saying, maybe if you know that the company is maybe like a small company, or you know that there is some human checking actually all the resumes, that's interesting, because if it's a software or a system that is just picking up keywords, maybe it's not the best idea.
Exactly.
But I found that this was more like getting my attention faster than other resumes.
Because you're a creative person.
Yes. Yeah.
You're not a lawyer. All right.
So here's another example.
Yep.
And that's the end of this lesson.
Wow,
actually.
What a nice last slide. All right, guys. So we hope you learned something new in this new lecture,
and that you got inspired by these ideas and strategies.
I think we have a lot of good inspiration in there. And what's next? We are going to design in the next lecture with me. We are going to start designing your resume. See you there.
Anna, come see my CD, come.